Welcome to another episode of Feel Free, the only podcast that'll tell you to chase your dreams and call you out on all your bullshit, myself included. If you want more content on health, wellness, recovery, and inspiration, then look no further and hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate all the love and support from everybody. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for all of you, but enough of all of that. Let's get into the episode. Do either of you go to meetings right now?
I think we
Muncy?
both do, right? I go to a weekly meeting. I guess you could say it's my home group. It is my home group, so there are people there who hold me accountable. Last week, a buddy of mine, Brandon knows him, Jeff, got his 5-year coin, and I presented his 5 years on the day of at the meeting, but then there was another meeting where I had a coin to give him, and I got lost in some creative work I was doing, and I completely lost track of time, and it was like 8:30, and the meeting started at 8, and he's like, "Bro, where are you?" And I'm like, "Fuck!" And so I just dipped right away, and I got there in like the last 15 minutes, and I made an immediate amends and gave him his coin, and I was just so grateful to be at another meeting too, to have people in our lives that remind us and keep us grounded of the work that we do that we forget to do for ourselves, right? Like you were saying, if you can help someone else, sometimes that's the name of the game, because I just, self-love and I care, but I'm more than willing to put my own needs aside for something I'm doing or focused on. And I'm not as willing when it comes to someone else's well-being, someone else I care about. So if people are counting on me, then I'm counting on me. Yes, I go to meetings. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No,
But,
dude.
No, that's good.
yeah,
That's,
that's where
no,
I'm
that's
at.
perfect. Yeah. So there's two things that are important that you both mentioned that people can get from going to meetings, right? And that's service work, right? Helping your community, helping other people along their paths, and then community, being a part of a community, being part of something. So I used to go to meetings once a week since I got sober. I was doing that regularly. Muncie and I did that meeting. But recently, I'd say past month, past 5 weeks, I probably haven't been to one because, both of those buckets now, service work and community are being met in other aspects. So I find that as long as I have those two pieces, then my needs and fulfillment, and it's being met emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So as long as I have those, I'm usually pretty good, but I am definitely
Mhm.
not opposed to meetings. Sometimes Muncie will call me and be like, "Hey, I got this meeting. We got this going on." And I like to make that a priority. So it's definitely more on like a once in a while basis, but it's important because it offers those two things. And if AA is not for you, then there's alternative communities as well with sober people. So I do highly encourage that individuals who are early in recovery find service work opportunities and a sense of community within the sober realm. So
Yeah, that's
that's my
really a good
long-winded
point.
answer.
I love it, man. I think it's crucial that you were able to connect like some of what um, the values are in the program of like AA or NA. Some of the things that I learned from going to meetings, working the steps, learning the traditions, to apply them and realize they do apply in other areas of life. And I think that might be where
Fuck
people
yeah.
miss the mark, is they think this is such an exclusive like club, and it's really like these things we learn are going to help us in all aspects of our life. And once we can detach from like the order of it and the, I guess, conformity of it, and realize this is only there to help us. I think new addicts struggle with that a lot. I see a lot of resistance, which I understand. We don't like rules. We
Mhm.
don't like to be told what to do. I still don't. And
Mhm.
so it's completely understandable, but I love to see that connection, because yeah, you only hit a meeting an hour of the day, right, if you want to go. And if you're practicing the principles, among other principles of your own in all areas of your life, you're gonna be spiritually grounded. You're gonna be okay.
Mhm.
you know
Yep. I like this book, The Stepping Stones, man. Once he put me back
mm,
onto this, like, must have been fucking 6 to 10 months ago. And every morning, if you follow my Instagram, I post the reading of the day. And there's a lot of good shit in here. And Stepping Stones, more daily meditations for men. And a lot of it's aimed at people in recovery. But I get a lot of people that message me about this shit that aren't, because it can be applied to, like you said, every facet of life, man. It's just like a book to be more grounded, more compassionate, and to just be a better person, right? So it's good stuff.
No, it's great, man. That one's geared toward men too, but of
Hmm.
course, I'm sure some of
For
it
sure.
applies all around. But I love that
Hmm.
you're reading it because your story post is my daily reading
There
sometimes,
you
a
go.
lot of the times,
Yeah.
and it is a little bit outside of the box. Like it's recovery literature, but it's not like your daily reflections or your big book.
Hmm.
It's
For
it's
sure.
someone like one of us who decided to do a daily reflection and write what they interpret out of like this kind of work.
Yep.
Great reads, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, easy to digest too. It's not like, I
Hmm.
think a lot of people get, oh fuck, I gotta read through this whole book and I have to read chapters and do a big study. Like, no, dude, you can just like read a small paragraph when you start your morning off. That's it, and it could significantly impact you, right, in a positive way. So,
For
good
sure.
shit. Thanks for that recommendation, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Totally. Yeah, I think having better resources during recovery has been I has been great for me. I like being able to talk with other addicts. I like being able to hear their stories, their thoughts, and a few of them are very excited that I'm there. Just like a few of them ask me at the end, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be here next week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be back next week." And they're pretty excited to see me, and I'm pretty excited to see them.
That's
It's
awesome, dude.
a really positive thing. And although like I was really hesitant to go to meetings, even like when I first started getting sober, I didn't go to my first meeting until 6 months into my sobriety.
Hmm.
Whether that was like social anxiety or like it was more social anxiety, honestly. And I didn't really want to read the book and do all that stuff. Um, but it's a humbling experience going there now and like having no preconceived notions about what recovery should be, as long as everybody's there to be a healthy, sober person. I should say sober first, but yeah, that's the prerequisite.
Hmm.
And although it is a little, addiction's it's a depressing thing, it's not super easy to talk about, but everybody there has a positive light on them, even if you're only there for your first day. There is that light that things can get better, and I'm really happy to be a part of that now on a weekly basis.
That's awesome,
It's
man.
just totally, yeah, it's totally changed my perspective on it. So I'm, keep coming back is what they say.
Dude, for sure. And NA is super cool too because like you said, it is a lot of newcomers, even at the meetings where they've been around longer. Like you're at a beginners meeting, so of course, but there's a lot of newcomers that, come and go. And I think part of what recovery looks like for me is helping people that aren't there yet, are not don't even understand this language that we speak. How do I get through to those people? And
Right.
sometimes that is going against the grain. It's not doing things by the book. I love that when Brandon got his 1 year, he came in and shared a unique story, his unique success story. That is like, I got a mentor and I've done a lot of work. I come to meetings, but I've kind of worked a program of my own. It's not like I'm. He wasn't saying like I don't take your recommendations. It was more like I'm doing what works for me, and look at me. I got, you know what I mean? Like I got a year. You were so happy. I love to see that, dude, because yeah, I don't know. There's more than one way to the top of the mountain for sure.
Yeah. There is, man. Definitely is. And that's where John, you can add different perspective in some of these meetings. Also, being an individual who got sober in a non-traditional 12-step sort of fashion. And I believe that that's going to be helpful for newcomers and people who are new to the program to see that there are other mindsets and philosophies outside of 12 steps and ulterior ways to get to a good spot in life, right? Having that perspective is important for any kind of group, right? And certainly, I think very highly of the 12 steps, AA and NA. It is by far proven the most successful program to help get people sober and clean off of drugs. You see a lot of very happy, fulfilled people that have gone through that, and it's the building block, the foundation of sobriety in a lot of ways. And a lot of the principles that we probably speak about, right, with therapists or readings that we do, meditations and methodologies, or a lot of that stuff is in the big book, and it's part of the 12-step program. So it's good to have diversity of thought, man, for sure.
Right, and that's one of the main reasons I had all three of us on here for the. I think this is the first time all three of us have been on the Feel Free podcast together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Well, yeah, look at that.
we've all gotten through recovery in our own way. I do think Brandon started going to meetings to start out, and he also got the mentor, which I didn't do meetings, but I did get the mentor. Muncy worked the steps in the program and went to meetings and stuff. So we all have a different formula that worked for us, and I think it's great the way that we can all help people with our different perspectives, which is, I think, what we're seeking out to do with all of the work we do, whether it's creatively, what we speak on, what we write about. We're all trying to help people get out of the dark places that all three of us have been before.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? In the programs of, the 12-step programs, the honesty, the open-mindedness, and the willingness, those are required to change, to continue changing your life. Like, even after you've got some clean time under your belt, whether you're, in those programs or not, if you're not willing to look at yourself and listen to, the actions of others, then I don't know if you stand a chance at that time. You might not be ready or whatever, but the open-mindedness, you can't think that, well, you could think that you know it all, but you might not, and there's just there's some key principles that really, I think, are they correlate. They're across the board,
Right.
That's what I see in every aspect of like personal development, is these common themes that you just can't throw out the window,
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And do you think that your perspective on recovery has changed now from what it was at the start? Either of you can go with that one for sure.
Yes, because when I first was getting off drugs and my life was just in shambles, recovery to me meant getting and staying abstinent from substances, with the exception of like coffee and, at the time, cigarettes or whatever, and now clearly, like, those aren't even a thought in the mind, but it's how can I get the best quality out of the life that I live, be centered, be whole, be grounded. Like, what can I do in my daily life that will help me optimize and just really enjoy my time here, and not like lose my mind. I think that's what recovery is to me now. Like, it's really, spirituality. And that's what you learn, I guess, is once you have some time away from drugs and alcohol or whatever your vice was that was really destroying you, making it hard to have quality of life. You get some time away from that and you realize that, like, not all your problems have gone away, and you need to continue like doing work, and you start to see maybe what the real problems were, why you turned to those things, and you realize those were never the problems, they were your solution that no longer is serving you, and so that's the ongoing challenge now is, we don't have those solutions. So what solutions do we have that are going to give us quality of life and allow us to live, allow us to feel free,
Feel free. He said it. He used the fucking thing, man. Fuck yeah.
He did the thing.
He did the fucking thing. I love that shit. Oh, was that it, Muncy? I interrupted with. I got pumped.
Yeah.
That was such a good way to end it. It's the only way you could end it. That's fucking sick, man. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. So it's about, in the beginning, especially, right, I go all the way back to fucking high school when I was going to these meetings, and it was like, we'd celebrate time. Okay, I got this much time of abstinence from drugs and alcohol. And then that's what you think it's about, but you're like, no, this is about like living a fucking fulfilling life, right? So self-development. It's really about self-development. And then once you start to develop self and start to appreciate life in the way that humans were supposed to live life, right, which is clear from poison, you start to take that a step further, right? And then you start looking at self-mastery. So I believe that's kind of what it leads to, right? That's the end goal, is self-mastery. And people that are more in line with stoicism would probably see that in a similar fashion, right? But abstinence is the first step. That's like if you don't have that, you can't have all this other shit. You have to give up this overwhelming impulse, right? This compulsive urge to seek pleasure, right? And that could, like Muncy said, in the form of drugs, alcohol, gambling, pornography, fucking nicotine. It could be love. That's a whole nother podcast right there about navigating relationships, which is some shit you guys probably know. Like, I've been single for a long, long time, and navigating intimate relationships with women is like something they don't really teach you that. You have to learn it. And when you're an individual that isn't used to having those healthy relationships, or shit, even a healthy relationship with yourself, right? This is why they recommend 1 year of being single while you're in the program, or getting sober and clean. And that's been very eye opening for me. It's so that's another element, right? It's, you got self development, and then you've got like interpersonal relationship development, and building strong, loving, trusting relationships with other people. So you have to be very compassionate, and you have to have a good understanding of self in order to do that, because you need to make sure that you're good, like you're good emotionally, mentally, that you're reliable, that you're honoring your word, and that you're not projecting out in a negative way to your partner, right? Because that's you can't have a relationship that way. So it has changed. It changes a lot, man. It's like there's always room for improvement and growth in those areas. It's a very beautiful thing. But the starting point is getting clean. But fuck, you won't stay clean very long if you don't start the self development, right? And that's what we see. And that's a lot of times why people, when they stop going to fucking meetings, because that's their community, that's their service work, that's their accountability piece, and they're working a program on top of that. When they stop, they relapse. And you got to make sure that you're putting the work in, you're doing the self development, and that you have a community and a strong backbone to keep it going. So that's my another long winded answer for you.
Dude, there's so many directions you could go from all those gems you just dropped.
Oh, dude.
I feel
Right.
like man, because in the self mastery thing, like I don't know if there's an end point with it, or like at what point along the way when you're striving towards self mastery are you content, like, and like okay, like I love myself, but I know I want to continue toward mastery and improving. And then with the 1 year thing, I think there's no set time. It's okay, I guess it makes sense for like a minimum, right? But years, you could be years into your sobriety, and getting into a
Yeah.
serious relationship is going to throw you for a loop, because
Yeah.
like I love Lori. I'd kill and die for that woman, but there's always still work on yourself you need to do. And
Yep.
then now
Sure.
you do have someone else's life that you're kind of responsible for, and it's not all about you anymore, but there's still work to be done. So it's like that balancing act. And I don't know if anyone has the answers, but it's it's definitely, but it's important. And when last time we kicked it, Brandon, you mentioned something that really stood out to me, is that like we're not here to live easy lives. We're not here to have everything just be easy. And the things that are worthwhile we have to work for, and however simple they may be, they are never easy.
Yep.
And that's all I got on that. But
No, dude. Good. Some good stuff there, John. What you got?
So I liked how you said that the end goal of self mastery, or there might not be one, and I'm like, oh, you're getting into you're getting into Buddhist territories, or
Okay.
studying like Buddhism and stuff, like because they'll also say that that I don't think there is an end goal to that, because you're almost like just content with your existence, right? But it's purely natural. You're not like forcing it or anything like
Flow
that.
state.
They're not. Yeah. And then that's kind of like mixed with Taoism too. Yeah, but my perspective on recovery was totally different from my perspective on sobriety. And I was just on a podcast talking about this question too, because at the start of it, it's it was, I need to abstain from drugs. That was the number one goal. No matter what, I need to be sober every single day. Aside from, like you had mentioned, the coffee and the cigarettes, right? That was kind of what, that's, you can't get rid of all of them. You can't get rid of all of them. You'll go nuts, honestly. But what I did was I always viewed it as I need to get all of my habits under control instead of looking at it as recovery, because I didn't work the 12-step program. I didn't do something traditional. I did have a mentor and a therapist who was 30 years sober, who worked the program, who helped me out through that. And for me, I was just looking at it like I have so many bad habits. All of my free time is consumed with this impulsive desire to drown myself, my conscience, So instead of learning how to recover right off the bat, I learned how to optimize my habits and my free time. So I knew that I needed to get rid of every addiction I had, whether it was an addiction to video games or cocaine, alcohol, refined sugar, energy drinks. So I took the first 2 years of my sobriety to get those habits in line, get better physical habits, running, working out, and eating right and stuff like that. But that's not what recovery is. Recovery is, like you said, you were looking at things that used to be problems, but you used them as solutions, right? And after like my 2-year mark in sobriety, then I started to realize that I need to start forgiving myself for the things that I've done in my past, which is over the last almost 3 years of the second half of my sobriety and recovery. I've looked at it like I got to write a book on this shit, because I think forgiveness is kind of my ultimate goal in recovery, to forgive myself for my past and understand that each day I'm not perfect and I just have to give it my all. Obviously, like we've said, being sober is the number one goal. It's literally the prerequisite for this self-mastery, self-development. But my goal is to just be forgiven, and that's where I'm at right now.
Your goal when you say to be forgiven is to forgive yourself, right? Because you can't control necessarily if other people are going to forgive you.
Exactly.
Self-forgiveness.
It's all self-forgiveness. I can ask people for forgiveness that I have hurt, but it's on them if they're going to forgive me or not. If I forgive me for my mistakes, then that's the best I can do as an individual.
Absolutely.
It's almost like the rejection of that. Like, I think most people that are reasonable will forgive you for anything you've done, depending on what it is, of course. But if they don't, then even just that effort is like can lead to forgiveness of self, right? Sometimes that's the whole amends process. Is like sometimes you got to take that step to clear your side of the street.
Yep.
And they might not take to it, and that's okay, because then it's no longer your business, right? I think. But I definitely,
you're right.
That's an ongoing, that's a struggle for me too, John. That's self-forgiveness is, it's tough.
Dude, it's tough. And it's like, we're not perfect. I've never thought of myself as perfect, but some of the mistakes we've made in our lives, now that we're past them, we look back at them like, God damn, I can't believe I did some shit like that. Like, was I just a soulless bastard who didn't have any emotions, And now you're like, now that we're sober, there's no filter on our emotions anymore. Like, we feel like 100%, right? You feel hurt. You feel happy. You feel these things to the fullest potential. And now you're looking back at your past, like, in order to forgive yourself, you have to feel that empathy of the people you might have hurt, or in the moment you hurt yourself, And it's tough. I'm coming up on 5 years, and feeling's tough, man, when you're really feeling, right? And then processing that shit too. So that's one of the main reasons why I started going to meetings, is I feel something at these meetings that I haven't felt before, and I like it, because it has changed what recovery has meant to me.
What day of the week do you go to that? Do you go on weekends? You go during the week?
Thursday at 7:30.
Okay. I was gonna say we could hit one while I'm out there, but I'll be out there on Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe do another one.
Yeah, I haven't gone to any of the other ones in the area. The people I go to at that meeting, though, they hit all the meetings in the area. It's just kind of the one meeting that works with my schedule, because yeah, I mean, weekends are tough with like working out or hooping or working on the podcast and stuff. So I've tried to make time for this. It's a non-negotiable, as Brandon would say.
Love that.
So
It's a home group,
yeah,
man. You got your home group. It's important to
I
have that.
do. Yeah.
Cool, man.
So now that we have our perspectives on what recovery started out for us, what it has become, what worked for us, have you guys noticed a difference in how it has affected your creativity and your wellness? And this kind of is, centered around the self-development and the self-mastery stuff. But for people who are in recovery, a lot of people who get addicted to drugs are either artistically inclined or have the ability, in my opinion, to be artistically inclined. So how has this sobriety affected your guys' creativity and wellness and ambition in general?
Muncy, you wanna go first?
Sure, man. Yeah. So, I mean, recovery opened a whole new door for me of creativity because, it was something I always knew I would never stop being creative. It's just like within me, I feel like it's why I'm here. And, I wasn't really, attached to any purpose, or there was no driving force apart from like, this is why I exist, this is what I must do. I always had that belief once I began at a young age, but toward the end of my use, my active addiction, I feel like I was just like clinging on to that, and I didn't really know who I was, to be quite honest. I just knew I didn't want to give up, like in life and creatively. And when I got sober and got some of my ducks in a row, if you will, I just started to write again, write lyrics. I was, writing, journaling too, and whatnot. But once I started to write lyrics again and things were just flowing out of me, I felt like I had new perspective. I was learning, from recovery. I was learning new lingo, uh, new values, and it changed me. And I think that it definitely impacted my music. It gave me like a jolt to want to, to speak, to use my voice again. And over the years, I guess my perspective is always changing. So it's the hardest part, the part of it that I feel like artists get stale. Sometimes that the staleness people talk about, and I don't subscribe to this theory that like people think. A lot of people don't like Eminem since he got sober. They think his music got like dry, and there are many other artists that people say that kind of stuff about. Where it's like, yeah, once he kind of cleaned up his act, he lost it or whatever. And I think it's the ability to dive into the work. Like you need to be able to fully let go and of control completely to be creative and to feel, to get lost in it. You can't be worried about like, oh, at 6 o'clock I have to make dinner, or at 8 o'clock I got to be at this meeting. Like you need to just fully be able to be immersed in the experience. And I think that's hard once you start like really caring about your life and like other people in your life and trying to be better. So I think that it's the ability to detach that has gotten harder. And I think that's why people hold on to vices. For me lately, it's the nicotine. The nicotine helps me to just, kind of let go, dive into the work. And I know it's not great, but I can work for really long hours, and not worry about like anything, and to be able to do that without any external substance is obviously the goal, of course, and to
Of course.
create at a capacity that resonates with people, all people, or all of what's in someone, and so I think that it's really complicated, to be honest with you. I don't know, but it affects creativity 100%. It's just, are you going to allow it to affect you positively or negatively? And can you leverage the quality of life that you're getting from these changes, recovery, abstinence, personal development, and throw them into the creative element of life? And once you can do that, man, the people that you could help through that avenue is, dude,
Yep.
And I
Next
think that
level.
we're all doing that in a sense. Yeah, I'll shut up with that. I want to hear what you
No,
guys have
man.
to say, but
Yeah,
No, it was good.
you touched up on some good stuff there. So the way I kind of view it is it's getting uncomfortable, right? So since getting sober, no longer relying on drugs and alcohol, uh, I no longer make fear-based decisions. At least I work my hardest not to, right? And that's a part of the self-development journey. So by not making fear-based decisions, it opens up the doors to do a whole lot of crazier shit because you're not afraid of how people are going to perceive you. You're no longer afraid of feeling less than or and it applies to like doing live performances, right? That singing in front of people, fucking playing music in front of people, that used to like really fucking stress me out. And I did do that prior to getting sober, but I drank a fucking lot, man, before those shows. Like I would get fucked up and fuck 10, 20 beers and, sometimes drugs with it. And now it's like, dude, I can go do this shit without using drugs and alcohol. What else can we do here? And that creative flow works its way out into whether it's like a sales presentation or entrepreneurial efforts, right? I'm working on some stuff outside of my current day job on the weekends. And there's so much opportunity to do things that I never really would have thought possible because I'm not afraid to do them anymore. So like you said, you could also use it as a crutch, like I did with alcohol for a while. And, nicotine, I know that's a whole nother beast, man. I occasionally dabble in nicotine, in the arts of nicotine and shit. Just recently this week, I haven't had any energy drinks, but I was on the energy drink shit like last week and the week before that. I'm like, holy fuck, because I was never a caffeine guy until I
yeah.
was. I was never into it until I started doing it. And I was like, holy shit, I could do 600 milligrams of caffeine a day. And I'm like, holy fuck, man. This shit isn't like, I'm like, this isn't good. This isn't a good substitute. So now today, only 2 cups of fucking coffee. 2 cups of coffee, bro. I'm like, that seems
Let's go.
that seems
It's
reasonable, right?
reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Decent. Yeah.
Am I a drug addict? You guys be honest with me. Is that?
You're damn right, but
I don't
that's
think
That's why
all
I'm on
three
this
of us.
podcast.
Yeah, I'd say all
Good.
three of us are on here for a
Yeah, I
reason.
was faking it the whole time. I just wanted to be an influencer. Just wanted to get famous. Like, wow, this guy makes it look really easy. It's like, yeah, it really wasn't. Who am I fucking kidding? But yeah, dude, it's easy to rely on substances for that. But when you get good at being uncomfortable and doing uncomfortable shit and chasing that down, especially if it's conducive to your mission statement, right? You're like, oh, this is a fucking, like you said, John, it's a non-negotiable. And you start doing the non-negotiables, you get really good at being uncomfortable, which allows for creative flow and doing unapologetic creative flow.
Mm.
It's the fucking
Dude,
best.
and that's a game changer right there too, because you think of any creative field and what you enjoy about it, right? Like I love writing music and rapping, performing, doing videos, whatever. But there are so many factors that you might not enjoy as much. And I feel like I've been able to detach from the egocentric side of it and also from just like the desirable aspects of it, because it all has to get done. Like if it's truly a non-negotiable, it's ingrained in your mission. You have to focus on certain things that aren't really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's as an artist, there's distributing your music, there's posting content, there's promoting your music, there's writing the lyrics, there's posting your lyrics, there's making videos, that scratches the surface. I know you outsource your editing for the podcast.
Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Kai, dude. For Toad, I'm gonna give Kai some big credit here, dude. He takes care of like all that shit. So fucking shout out to you, Kai Althouse. Thank you.
Legendary. So that's what I mean. And it's cool when you have people you can count on. And but when you got to wear these different hats though, like, and you're fucked up, dude, you don't stand a chance,
Right.
And even like staying in communication with the people you're working with and maintaining relationships and being able to count on people. If people can't count on you, and that you're not going to put your trust in other people to be counted on to take care of things for you. And that's required to do anything creative. And I think as you build and you grow, there are certain things that you can kind of let go of. You can have other people take care of for you. But along the way, a lot of that is on you, as you're building your brand in whatever field you're in. If you want the work to be done right, I think you have to do a lot of it at first.
For sure.
And I wasn't able to do that when I was
Mm-hmm.
living on a pipe dream of like, oh, this rap is so sick, I'm gonna blow up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not a chance, dude. Yeah, you're dope. I know I'm dope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the dopest there is.
Fuck
but
yeah.
that's not enough, bro. That's not enough, And I recognize that now, and I'm grateful that I have to stack my skills and I have to learn these different aspects.
Fuck yeah.
And work with other people. Like, it's not fucking all about me. Like, how selfish and how egotistical of someone to think that they're just that special. We're all fucking special, but we're all not special.
You need a team.
Y'all can't do it alone.
You need a fucking team, dude. You're absolutely right. That's been a reoccurring theme in my head this week, and I've just been really thinking about it. I'm like, wow, look at all the stuff we can accomplish if we work together, and there's a lot to be said about that. I believe that Western culture misses that mark a lot. It's a very individualistic, like one man's journey type of shit. But you see these families and these groups of people, and they work together, and they all have money. They protect each other's money. They protect each other's interest, and they fucking do very, very well, right? And there's a lot of growth and community there as well. So this sparks up possibly more conversations that the three of us should be having outside of this podcast with opportunities as well. Right? I've just been thinking, I'm like, fuck, we're like all on our own journeys. Sometimes it feels like we're all on our own individual journeys, and I'm not quite sure that it should be that way sometimes.
Well, I think it needed to start out that way in order for us to heal and for us to trust ourselves. Now all three of us trust ourselves enough right now at this point for it to now come together.
Just don't give me an energy drink, because then I'll rob all of you guys. Fucking, I'm going to come over with a gun and take all your shit.
Fucking savage,
it's like, if you
dude.
give a mouse a cookie, dude, like I'm telling you, shit's fucked.
Next time you feel like you need an energy drink, just come jump in the ice tub.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, I know. You gotta talk about that, man. He's been on that. I just talked to Muncy about it. And fucking guess who called me today and told me, he's like, all right, son, I think you've been right about a couple things. Our HR director just had a talk.
Dave?
Dave is doing cold showers now.
Let's go!
It's so funny. He's like, you might be on to it. Like, he started meditating and shit too. I'm like, all right, fuck yeah, man. He does. He has some daily non-negotiables that are in kind of our space now, right? So it's pretty neat to see that.
He's in it now.
Yeah.
It's weird you say that, because my dad has been going to the health club almost every day for the last 2 weeks, working out now. Yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
I know. It's nice to see that energy in those that are older than us too, because I mean, it's just nice to see that energy in anybody in any age,
Yeah.
Something I want to touch on that I think Brandon said with the creativity, and there was this fearlessness to just dive into things, right? And then with Muncy saying, yeah, you got to just fucking dive into it. You don't care about dinner at 6 or this at 8. Like, it's this fearlessness in the moment, and being able to channel that in a healthy way. Now, then I wrote down that there's this dichotomy of fear. Brandon was saying, I'm not making fear-based decisions anymore. When we were all we were afraid of the people we were. We were afraid of our thoughts and feelings, and we tried to drown ourselves. So we were making decisions out of fear to use substances. But then also there was this fearlessness. I'm like, I'm going to do fucking whatever.
Yeah.
No one's going to stop me, right?
Correct.
I'm literally a wrecking ball, right? And this fearlessness ended up destroying us. Now, when Brandon talks about this higher and lower self, channeling the lower self fearlessness of the people we were into a higher self positive fearlessness manner is now where we are all at right
Correct.
now. Now our fearlessness doesn't destroy us.
Correct.
It builds us.
Yeah, right. Lower self is the fearlessness being like the wanton disregard for yourself and others, right? And then the higher self is fearlessness, like I'm not afraid of anything that's going to get in front of my mission statement. Like I'm not afraid to make the choices that I have to make that are conducive to the higher version of my being, right? You're absolutely.
Because we trust the positivity we have now too. Because before we had the fearlessness, like I'm just gonna make any fucking decision I want. Fuck the repercussions and the consequences, whatever. Now it's like we trust ourselves. We're like, with this mission statement Brandon says, it's like, listen, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I know I'm gonna do something great, and I'm gonna help people along the way, and I'm not afraid of shit anymore, you know?
Dude, I think that's really bringing me to a place of reflection that I think ties into the forgiveness aspect of like when our shadow was running the show, what parts of the higher self were present though, you know, because there was like we're still in there, and there were things that like, you know,
For
great
sure.
memories we have, great experiences where clearly it wasn't all bad, and we weren't, you know, just completely low vibrational beings. There was it was all mixed up, right? So how can we like pull out what that was, and just remembering why those experiences were special, you know? And not giving so much credit to like, oh, we were high, or we were, you know, it was the drugs, or
Listen,
you know, whatever it was.
If I shared my fucking drugs with you, it means I loved you. All right.
Dude,
That's
exactly.
how
Yeah.
you could tell if I was like, man, that guy gave me his last line of cocaine. I fucked with you.
He's a real one. Yeah.
What was that? My higher self, or was it my lower self?
Was it could it be both?
Well,
working together.
Yeah, for one community, it's like I wasn't getting higher; I was getting lower by giving away my last line of cocaine. So it was working towards a lower self. There's a lot to dissect on that one, but yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. It's not black and white. We always have, even when we were in a phase of our lives where we were using that shit, there was plenty. I still was like, I've always been a very like compassionate person. I've always cared about people. A lot of it was self-sabotage and anger. I would get spiteful and angry, and I would like lash out. And there was a lot of, I never thought I was an angry person until I think about like, I'm like, yeah, I was. I just internalized a lot of that anger and hatred, and I fucking directed it towards myself. I wasn't violent towards other people. I was very violent and disrespectful to myself. And, you know,
same here.
Yeah, I know, because
like,
I've never known either of you guys to be like violent people either, but I'm sure you had anger or sadness that manifested into anger, and then we just self-sabotage, right?
I think you take so much of it out on yourself that eventually like you're not able to be as good to your fellow. You know, you're not able to be your brother's keeper when you're just shitting on yourself all the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's where that, you know, that self-love and being free and within you is allowing you to be, you know, kind to your mates, if you will. But not to say anyone, you know, not to say if you're taking all the shit that you're just going to be a horrible person, but how much better could you be? How much more of an impact could you have on others had you been, you know, when you're taking care of yourself? It's clearly the difference is astronomical.
Yeah, I mean, we've all taken it. I think that's one common theme in addicts is you actually get angry at yourself and you take it out on yourself, and the only thing you know how to do is punish yourself further by taking more drugs. You're like, well, I'm a piece of shit, so I'm going to act like a piece of shit. Well, I was angry. Now I'm just going to be angry towards myself. You know, I'm not going to lash out at people. I'm just going to lash out internally and create a whole bunch of, you know, demons in my head, and we're all just going to fight each other for days on end, years on end. You know, we're not going to get anywhere. And that was what, you know, addiction was to me for those 8 long years, just being angry internally with somewhat of a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I think that recovery has allowed me to see past that surface level of like, you see someone do something that maybe is shitty toward you or towards someone else, and you're quick to be like, yo, but now I'm like, what's going on with you, with that person, you know?
Right.
And you know it's deeper than that, and you feel like, you know, you feel empathy toward them. Like, damn, like he must really be going through it right now because he's lashing out at me or this person, and I'm going to handle this as best as I can because I've been there.
Muncy's good with that. I feel like he gets like on the Facebook thing. I believe we were talking about Facebook a little bit. I think Muncy gets some shit on Facebook once with like the crazies on Facebook, and you've done a pretty good job of like of being like, okay, I'm not gonna let this bother me. Whereas I know like back in the day for me, that shit like internet trolls, dude. people on Facebook fights, dog. Back in like 2009, 2010,
Dude.
like high school, like holy shit, that would get heated. I'd be so fucking angry from Facebook. You know, then you can start to just like brush it off your shoulders, bro. Life is so much better when you can do that.
Dude, right when someone hits you with like the big novel type paragraph in the comment section of something in Facebook, you're like, oh man, this is it.
Read it. I shouldn't read it, but I'm gonna fucking read it. And I'm gonna type this out, and you'll spend like hours typing shit out. I'm like, holy fuck.
Dude, TikTok's pretty bad too. It's Gen Z Facebook, bro. Like everyone feels inclined to give their opinion. There's some bullies on there, bro. It's crazy, but it's like that's not real life, you know.
Man.
I don't know if I'd be bothered in the same way as someone said that to me to my face, but people don't. So it's like it's this weird like fake world of like I'm gonna tell you what I think, whereas like we don't have thought bubbles above our heads as we like walk through into the restaurant. You see like the waiter's like, oh, that's a scrub who just walked in here. He's not gonna tip me. Like, that's what you thought, but
right.
I don't know, dude. It's not healthy to know. To give so much stock into what everyone else thinks. Like you don't let people in your house just to tell you everything they think about your decorations and your kitchen and shit. Like, that's for your people you love, your friends, your family. That's sacred, bro. And we give so much of ourselves as people who we want to build a brand. We want to have a platform. We want to help people with that. Right. And we want to shake shit up. We want to live a life that's like, we're present. We're omnipresent. We're there. But you got to be careful, you know? Got to be careful.
Bro, I'm gonna have so many fucking trolls, dog. I'm telling you, I'm going to have so many.
Dude, I actually had a few of them on some of my YouTube shorts that I put up. Yeah, and like, you know, you're like trying to use your platform for a positive message, and you know, which is
people are dicks,
which is generally what I'm trying to do, and like, because like one of the hold on, I'll tell you the story. One of the shorts was a solo episode where I was like just talking about habits. I'm like, you got to be relentless to figure out your habits, the good ones, the bad ones, how to heal them, how to fix them, hire somebody. I was just saying, you know, you got to be relentless. And I had some guy hop on in the comments and be like, yeah, dude, I'm like a certified like therapist and all this crap. And like, you can't be telling people to do that. It's not like that easy. Like you're fucking missing the whole point and shit like that. And it was like a 10-second short. And I'm like, he didn't even like watch the episode before or after, you know? And yeah, I'm just like sitting there. I'm trying to figure out like I'm like, well, I'm 4 years sober. So I think I know a little bit about getting off of bad habits, you know, which I was trying to be very professional about it. Yeah. And I typed a really great response and he did not reply to it. I'm like, well, that was a waste of my fucking time, you know?
So good.
Dude, yeah, for sure. It's crazy, man. People are going to judge you off a 1-minute clip for the rest of your life too.
You got a recent troll story, Muncy? Do you have anything with the trolls recently?
No trolls, man. No? For me, I mean, they exist. Yeah, they definitely exist. It's been a lot on TikTok. So, you know, ever since launching the Cypher Society, I fully manage the brand. I post all the content like it's my baby, you know. So I have a lot of other artists that I'm posting and promoting, and I see what people are saying, and it's the same things that people would say about my music that I would take personally. It's like, fuck you, man. Like, yeah, you think you're tough on the other side of that fucking phone, but now it's like I have no control over what people say, and since it's not my own art, it's a little bit less. You're like, less touchy. You know, sure. I might snap back at them too, since it's like if they're saying something mean, I'm like, yo, you're a hater, but I'm very detached from it now. It's really helped me to see like, wow, some people just live their life behind a screen to hate on other people doing something creative, and that will never change, you know. But I love the creators. I'm drawn toward the people that are doing shit that, maybe not everyone's gonna like it, but there's a lot of love in there, and we tend to overlook that, right? We tend to look right to the trolls and be like, "You little bitch."
I know, dude. No, it's great. I've been watching they pop up on my feed, but Cypher Society's dope, man.
Thank you, man.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I do have one. So it was recently our best post we've done. on the TikTok, Joey Keys, his verse from a recent cipher is like approaching 9 or 10,000 plays.
Fuck yeah.
And it's got like a couple hundred comments, and someone was like, we filmed the cipher in Pontiac, right? So I put that on the video, and someone commented, you're way too white to be from Pontiac. You're probably from Bloomfield Hills and pretend to be from Pontiac. And I was like, yo, like we shot the cipher in Pontiac, but like, you know, these are artists from all over Michigan.
Yeah.
And Joey Keys is Mexican, by the way.
He
also happens to be from Pontiac.
Yeah.
So
You're actually wrong.
I mean, you're just wrong, bro. Like,
people don't even care if they're wrong though, and then they'll just go into it. Like, and then
good.
It's just pointless at that point. And then, but you're trying to defend them. You're trying to something sacred like art, you know. And I think it's funny because we don't, or art or wellness or positivity, we don't. Like, I have a lot of people who hit me up about the podcast and the book, and they say they love all that shit, and it's great, you know? And then I have, like, one guy or two people on YouTube, like, fucking have a problem with one thing I did trying to help people, and then I'm sitting here like, God, what a fucking dick, you know? Like, I'm just, like, what the fuck? Like, shit. And then we focus on that negativity instead of, like, you know, the whole picture of positive pie, you know?
For sure.
Right. When it's the risk we take as creators, you know, like we there's a level of acceptance, I think, that comes with it.
It's inevitable, man. And if you can talk about it and laugh about it with your friends, I feel like that's the best, is to laugh about it and talk about it, because you can't just like, you know, you can ignore it to an extent, but at some point you're going to want to fucking talk about it and reflect on it. Right. And if you can make that a fun experience, then it actually makes it a lot easier when it keeps happening. We pissed off. I pissed off. This is a while back. We did a podcast with a gentleman and with the guys at Toad, and we pissed off a massage therapist. They were offended by when I was telling the story about how we crafted You Know Me, right? And I was talking about how it was based on a Chinese massage parlor. Air quotes. It wasn't a real massage parlor, and it was like prostitution. And this fucking massage therapist was like, this is not an accurate representation of our services, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no way. In that podcast, I think about all the shit I said and the do-rag I was wearing, did I think that someone would be upset about my massage, and it would be a massage therapist. And I was like, this is the best. I'm like, I'm so glad. we could brush that one under the rug pretty easily, right? It's like, yeah, Kai was
for sure.
He's like, dude, you're gonna love this comment. That was my first taste of it. I have a feeling the next one won't be a massage therapist, but we'll see. Hopefully it's on this podcast. I hope we get a bunch of it on this podcast, and then we'll do a whole other podcast reading the comments to each other.
Do you think we have enough content right now to all three of us get canceled? And in the comments, like, you guys aren't actually sober. You're fucking assholes. Like, stop.
Not the collective. I believe
there yet.
I have enough. I have enough to get canceled one day, and you guys will probably be canceled by default, I would think, because I'm close with you. So I apologize ahead of time. But personally, I don't give a fuck.
Canceled first?
Yeah, I'll be the first one to get canceled, I bet. But you can only be canceled if you allow yourself to be canceled. So I'm uncancelable. I decided that I'm not going to be canceled. So it can't happen.
Well, it's true, because there's always going to be people who love and appreciate what you do.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, even if like 70% of your, 70% of the world wants to cancel you, if you've connected with that other 30% of the world, there's your people, dude.
Yeah, you could like win an election that way and shit, man. I'm telling you, there's, you just need you need your niche. And here's the thing, if it's all based on my mission, I'm good to go, dude. Who cares, right? So I just got to make sure we stay with our mission, and we adjust that and reevaluate that every once in a while.
Dude, gold.
We talked a little bit about recovery, about creativity, about wellness, ambition, and internet trolls and shit. Why not, right? So before we do dip out, I also wanted to just like catch up between you three. Like, what do both of you have cooking?
Wait, is it over already?
Dude, yeah, we've been talking for over an hour. How about that shit?
I feel like I just sat down with you guys.
I know, dude. It goes quick, brother.
Why, you want to make this a 2-hour podcast? You got another hour in the tank?
I got 30.
Always, but
I got 30 in the tank.
I know we all got things we could be doing, but there's nothing I'd rather be doing at this exact
I know, man. I enjoy it. I
This
do
is
enjoy it.
really great.
You guys are the best, man. You're two of my closest friends, and I was thinking about that in the way here, right? Whatever shit we got going on, and there's always going to be stressors in life, and I just thought about it in the drive back from band practice. Like, I'm really happy that I have the opportunity to do this podcast with both of you, and then have these friendships, man. You guys are great, and I believe we're all in each other's lives for a reason, and I'm really looking forward to what we continue to cook up these coming years together.
Sure.
Fuck yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Honestly, fucking love you both. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
Love you guys.
too, man. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I mean, we kind of.
That almost felt like we closed it, but you had that question.
Love you, peace.
Yeah, all right, so yeah, all right.
I closed it out. I'm sorry, I was preemptive, man.
Honestly, it was a good ending. I wanted to just really quick. Do either of you have something to say to the listeners in order to inspire them to be better?
Yeah, do a cold plunge.
Fuck, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's all I got. Because I feel like right now it's one of the only things I'm doing.
Love it, dude.
I'm kidding. That's a lie. That's a lie.
All he does is he cold plunges and he does a podcast once every 3 months.
No, I just mean like if the rest of my day is failures, right? I start my day with that, so it's difficult and I never want to do it, but everything else gets a little bit easier. And I need work in a lot of areas, but that I don't know, I feel alive, I feel like it's gonna lead me down the right path. And I just encourage everyone to try it if you have access to the water.
Yeah. Next time I'm
over
in
Michigan, you have full access.
Next time I'm over, Muncy, I'm gonna do the cold plunge. I'm all healed up. I don't got any hernia excuses anymore, so we should be good to go on that end. Yeah, I got something. So I'll make this similar to what I said last time, John, to any listeners that you have. Make your fucking bed. Make your fucking bed. Okay? Then start a gratitude list. 3 things you're grateful for. Do that shit for a week. Inbox me. I'll give you next steps. We'll work together. We're going to create a custom macro plan. We're going to get your body right. And we're going to start stacking you some fucking wins. So you're a beast. And no one can fuck with you more than you can fuck with yourself. So we're going to unfuck you. That's what I got.
You heard it, folks. We are here to unfuck you, so you can feel free to do cold plunges and make your fucking bed.
Or your half of the bed.
Yeah, or your half of it. Leave the other half for your significant other.
No, fuck that. Tell that bitch to get out of bed and then make the bed.
Partner out.
Yeah, and then take the picture and be like, "Listen, baby, you don't be disrespectful. Say, listen, baby, I need you to get out of bed. I'm gonna make the bed. I'm gonna take a picture. I gotta send it to Brandon, and then you can get back in and go back to sleep." If she has a problem, do not tell her to inbox me. You got to deal with that shit. But I'll walk you through the steps to deal with your partner.
I don't know how well that will go over, but good luck.
Okay, that was satire. I'm going to let everyone know it was satire.
Disclaimer, Brandon is not a relational therapist.
Yeah, disclaimer, I am not. I don't got that. I don't do couples therapy yet. We'll say yet. Don't do couples therapy yet. Right.
All right. Well, this was dope. Appreciate everybody coming out. You guys heard it. So, stay up and feel free. Have a good start to your week or your day. We're out of here.